Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sheila, and today I wanted to talk to you about turmeric. So, as a naturopathic doctor, I use a lot of turmeric in my practice, but maybe you've heard of it because it's just another one of those kind of trendy supplements out there, another thing that maybe like 5 of your friends have told you that you should pick up and try. But what's the big deal? Why should you care about turmeric? It's one of the ones that I can get pretty excited about. There's lots of research to kind of back it up, and those are the supplements that I can really get behind. So, first of all, what is turmeric? Turmeric is that beautiful orange spice, and you probably know it in terms of curry. I don't know any other way of cooking with it than in a really good curry. And it's what gives it dyes your kitchen orange. It's got that really unique color, and then it gives this kind of pungent, earthy kind of flavor to whatever you're eating. So mostly Indian curries, that's where you're gonna find it. So it comes from the ginger family. It kind of looks like ginger. If you look at the kind of the root, they look very similar. And the active component of turmeric, so the active ingredient, the thing that we're looking for that gives us what we think are the health benefits, is something called curcumin. So that's when you take a turmeric supplement, really what we've done is we've created the supplement that's really, really high in curcumin. And so it's not quite the same as eating the whole food. They act very differently. Whenever you concentrate something really highly, it's a little bit more like a drug because it's so far removed from what you actually get in nature. So why take turmeric? Why take curcumin? So the main two things are the anti-inflammatory properties and the antioxidant properties. Both of those things, put them together, and if you just name a condition, I can probably prescribe turmeric, and I can probably find research to back it up. So, in terms of inflammation, not only is it used for the obvious, like if you're in pain, you could have turmeric, but there's also like this whole other category of kind of chronic inflammation. And that's a concept that's being linked to a lot of different conditions. So, for example, depression. Depression is one where the research is starting to show that there is an inflammatory process happening. And then there's now research showing that curcumin could help. So anything from heart disease to depression can really benefit from an anti-inflammatory because there seems to be this kind of chronic inflammatory process happening behind the scenes. Antioxidants, maybe you've heard of kind of why you should eat fruits and vegetables, all the antioxidants in there. The real reason is because of free radical damage and oxidative stress. So if you have let's say you have high blood pressure or the beginnings of heart disease, a lot of that is mediated by free radical and oxidative stress. So why do you want an antioxidant? You want an antioxidant to help kind of stabilize some of the damage that's caused by these free radicals in your body. So those are the two kind of overarching health benefits of turmeric, is as a super antioxidant, and then as a natural natural anti-inflammatory. So I'm going to start talking about a few conditions that can really benefit from turmeric. I'm going to start because I already mentioned depression, and I think it's pretty cool that now we're starting to get actual research that compares things like Prozac to turmeric or curcumin. And they didn't find that Prozac was better than turmeric or turmeric was better than Prozac. What they found is that actually if you give them in combination, they work better. And we've seen that with a couple other supplements, but knowing that there's something that you can take that makes your medication better, that's huge. That's huge for a lot of people. And people have kind of completely different reactions to their meds, right? So sometimes they're medicating for mental health and they're not really seeing a benefit. So if we can do something to make that benefit, increase that benefit, it's gonna make a lot of people happy. I don't always go all the way to turmeric if I'm doing mental health anti-inflammatory support. Oftentimes I do just kind of stick to kind of healthy eating and what you're doing with food. I think that we can almost get a lot more bang for our buck if we're doing the work of healthy eating versus just taking a curcumin supplement. So I do kind of probably put more energy to whole foods in this situation, but the research is there, and so we're learning a lot. The other kind of condition that always comes up is arthritis. I could even say just all pain symptoms, right? But arthritis is driven by inflammation in the joints. And so very obviously curcumin is going to help because it's going to help with that inflammatory process. So any sort of joint health product that I'm prescribing, it always has curcumin in it as a major component. Another thing that I use in practice, or a condition that I treat with curcumin, is when people have had a traumatic brain injury or post-concussion syndrome. That's where we're also starting to see some really great research. Whether or not the curcumin can pass the blood-brain barrier, which is kind of the barrier that keeps things out of the brain space. That takes a little bit of specialized knowledge. That's where you want to kind of ask your naturopath whether or not the product you've chosen is good for that specific condition, or maybe you should just ask before you buy something. Another condition that we're starting to hear more about in terms of curcumin is cancer. So as an antioxidant and as an anti-inflammatory, you can kind of see how both of those things might help reduce your cancer risk. What's actually showing up in the literature is that with curcumin, we actually find that there's decreased blood vessel formation in tumors. We find that maybe that there's less spread, less metastases. And then we're also finding that curcumin can help with cell death. So actually getting those cancer cells to actually die instead of grow. So again, it's really early stages in terms of all of this research with cancer, and I'm hesitant to kind of say too much on that front. I don't want us to get too excited or too ahead of the research. I think we have to wait and see kind of what happens on that front, and just to be really cautious and really safe whenever we're talking about something that helps in terms of cancer treatment. So the next condition I wanted to speak to was heart disease. This one is, I already mentioned it, it's really driven by oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is driven by free radicals. So if you can have an herb, or in this case curcumin, if you can have something that's really powerfully acting on that antioxidant side of things, it's pretty straightforward that's really going to help you manage your heart disease. So really we're talking about kind of the plaque buildup in your blood vessels and even in the vessels of the heart. So taking curcumin and kind of tackling heart disease can prevent heart attacks. And then curcumin is going to help in like probably 5 or 20 different ways in addition to the fact that it's helping with that antioxidant. Like, we know that it supports the liver, we know that it supports blood vessels, we know that it supports blood sugar regulation. Like there's so much that curcumin has to offer. So the tricky part about curcumin is finding the right product. Or like if you want to add it to your diet, I would do it either in curry, and I also experiment with putting some into my smoothies. I don't think it tastes, I think it tastes fine, but I might be a weirdo, so, and that could very well be true. But curry, for sure. When you're trying to use curcumin, you're kind of, there's a couple things that you need to put into place in order to be able to have your body absorb it. So curcumin's not very bioavailable, and so you want to mix it with fat. So we've found that kind of water-based solutions doesn't work at all. You need to take curcumin with fat. So take your curcumin supplement with food. And then also if you're cooking with curcumin, it probably already is mixed with fat, because that's just how we use it in curries. So coconut milk, oil, ghee, there's lots of different ways to cook it with fat. And then the other component that's really cool is that we found that black pepper is really needed in order for curcumin to be absorbed. So mixing a little bit of black pepper into your dish just really allows you to get more out of what you're consuming. To be honest, curcumin is one of those things that I think is really important to ask for advice from your healthcare professional. There are so many products out there, and not all are made equal, and not all are what you're looking for. And everyone's got their trademark approach to curcumin absorption. They're going to make all sorts of claims about having the best absorbed curcumin, and it's a little bit of a minefield. Even as a naturopathic doctor, I find it a little bit challenging to parse through kind of all the different curcumin products on the market. So ask for help so that I can do some of the heavy lifting for you and get you the right product. So that's what I have to say about curcumin. And if I haven't mentioned a condition that you think might be made better by curcumin, just ask me about it. Chances are it probably does. Curcumin is just so far-reaching, and it has such a nice effect that it's probably going to help. So I'm going to leave it there for today, but I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and have a nice day and be well.